Hello and welcome to another Writerly Witterings, and today it is a very different one, as you can tell from the room behind me, because today I'm not at home in my office, I am travelling the world. We had some very bad news recently. My brother, who lives in New Zealand, is extremely ill, and so my brothers and I from the UK have flown out to New Zealand so that we can see him one last time. And it's interesting because the first thing, of course, is that these are not normal times, and so we have flown straight to a quarantine isolation centre in the middle of Auckland, and we've been here now for 5 days. We haven't gone mad yet, luckily, because there's a number of us. It makes it a great deal easier. But I must say, the other thing that makes quarantine in New Zealand easier is the New Zealanders, who could not have been more friendly, understanding and helpful. Even from the immigration officials we spoke to before we left, they were wonderful. I've got to write a letter to them to say thanks for all their help. But from there to the customs and immigration officials when we landed on our plane, they were incredibly friendly, understanding and just great. And the people in the hotel here, which is run by the New Zealand military, there is not much chance of escaping from here, let me assure you. And that's natural and it's sensible. New Zealand doesn't have COVID, basically. They've killed it off here because of their intensive quarantine and protective approach to things. They don't have COVID to the same extent as, say, Britain, where today I hear 490 odd people have died in the last 24 hours. It's worth protecting your population, folks. So, here I am in New Zealand, and I thought today what I'd just talk about very briefly was the essentials that have made life worth it here. Before I do, I've got to show you something. When I say the New Zealanders are nice, yesterday there was a knock at the door and someone had left this, arepa, and it's called a nootropic brain drink. And the very nice folks here got it for me on behalf of the hotel. They said they hoped it would help with my writing of my next novel. Isn't that nice? But you can't just live on brain drink alone. What are the basic essentials that you really ought to bring if you're going to go into quarantine? One thing, I really don't like instant coffee. And although I like tea, instant coffee, real coffee is the thing that I find I crave. So the most essential thing I brought with me was this, the AeroPress travelling version, because it is frankly fantastic. You have filters, you have your AeroPress design, where you open it up, you put coffee inside it there, you put a filter in the filter holder there, you stir it and leave it to stand for a few minutes, and if you haven't got a teaspoon, it comes with its own folding stirrer, and if you haven't got a teaspoon to measure your coffee, it comes with a coffee measure. And all this means that you can travel the world with all these things, including a cup to drink your coffee out of, and in your hotel room you can boil a kettle, stick some coffee in your AeroPress, and then you've got really good quality coffee quickly. AeroPresses are brilliant. If you haven't got one, you should do. What else is essential? Well, for me, my little homemade travelling paint box, because it means I can sit here when I'm bored, when I've not got any ideas, and I can just sketch the view. That's nice for me. It's relaxing, it turns my brain off. But I do have to do a lot of work as well, so I've been doing quite a bit of writing with China Blue ink, and the pen I'm currently using still is my little Indiana Jones Model 58, because yes, Conway Stewart were very kind and gave this to me as a birthday present because they liked my reviews. I don't tend to keep pens which are sent for review. This was an absolute delight, and I must admit I used it on the planes flying over, one 10-hour flight, one 17-hour flight, and it didn't burp, it didn't give me any grief whatsoever, it just kept on working. I've got to just break in here and say, my brother, when he saw me carrying this on the plane, laughed. He laughed extensively because he said, "You're going to get ink all over yourself." And he held up his biro and said, "This is what's safe, biros, because they never leak." And we got on the flight and we got off at the other end, and he had blue biro ink all over both fingers, and my fountain pen was fine. Just so you know. I have also brought a Visconti, the Crystal Dream. That didn't burp or do anything naughty either because I locked off the front reservoir. But both of them fantastic, fantastic pens, and they make writing a real joy. But of course I have other writing to do, so I brought my typewriter with me. This thing is just superb. If you haven't heard of them, look up Astra House Free right on my channel. You'll find several reviews of this one. And it's keeping me sane because just being able to use that keyboard to type without any interruption or other difficulty is fantastic. And then I've also brought an Apple MacBook Air, my ancient old thing, which means I can edit as well because I've got Scrivener loaded up on that. Now I have to say thanks to some people because they've made this possible. My brothers, for helping fund me to come over here, because I wouldn't have been able to come to New Zealand without their help. I have to thank Keith Blunt at Scrivener because he helped me get it loaded on this little laptop. It wasn't loaded, unfortunately, and he saved my life helping me get it loaded. Nisus Writer Pro equally helped me a huge amount getting Nisus loaded onto that computer so that I could use it abroad. I have to thank the people here at the quarantine centre at the Pullman Hotel in Auckland for just being brilliant and maintaining the sanity of all the people here, because it can't be easy usually being a hotel and then having to support a bunch of people who aren't allowed out of their rooms. Apparently people are getting stir crazy. No, they're not. It's actually very, very nice here. But thanks very much to the people of New Zealand for letting us come in so that we can see our brother too, because it's important to us. And now, one apology. I have no video editing software here, so this is going to be a strangely rambling, odd little video. I can only apologise, I can't do anything else, sadly. Hope that was interesting. I hope to be able to do a couple more videos while I'm here. One will probably be on airmail paper for obvious reasons, and apart from that, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks to my Patreon subscribers for helping support me. Thanks to all you other subscribers out there for supporting the channel, and please like it and share it and subscribe and do all those wonderful things because it helps make me feel as though I'm not just talking to a camera and no one else whatsoever, which would be sad. Thanks a lot. Take care.